The Keeley Bubble Tron is weird, but in a good way. It took me a while to figure this pedal out, and I'm still not sure I have it all entirely down. But the proof is in the playing, and I'm at a point where I think I can at least show you what's possible, even if it's not everything that's possible. The Keeley Bubble Tron has three main modes: filter, phaser, and flanger. And they're set by this little three-way toggle switch in the middle right here. These knobs do different things for the different modes, and the manual is of some help there, but really experimentation is best. On the first setting here, you get a dynamic filter, which runs through whatever LFO pattern you set down here on the bottom left knob, and you get triangle, ramp up, ramp down, and random. Next stop, phase, and this is a dynamic phaser. So the phase effect is triggered by your playing dynamics, and use these left two knobs here for the rate and depth of the phase sweep. And this top right knob is for the sensitivity. Check this out. Then there's the flange effect. Flanger works by introducing a short delay, which gets mixed back in with the original signal, which causes a comb filter effect, notching out certain frequencies. In this effect, the amount of delay that gets introduced is, again, based on your playing dynamics. Here's a somewhat extreme example of what it can do. I bought this pedal pretty much sight unseen. I'm kind of getting burnt out on overdrives and delays and maybe even choruses, and this looks like something pretty unique. And this is probably going to sound pretty corny, but this pedal sent me back to jamming in a friend's basement where his dad had all this 70s music gear. Stuff that's either long forgotten or crazy valuable vintage by now. And there were effect pedals, but not the mass-produced or even boutique-built kind like we have today. These were big silver boxes with lots of knobs, and half the time you couldn't even tell if they were broken or if you just didn't have the settings right. Needless to say, we listened to a lot of Zappa, Captain Beefheart, and Mahavishnu Orchestra in that basement, and Well, let's just leave it at that. So you've got these great dynamic effects, but then you open up the pedal and on the back, you've got these two switches. The first one makes a subtle change to the tonal response for a vintage or a modern sound. So here's the modern sound. And here's vintage. It's subtle, but it's there. The second switch gives you a second set of effects, or at least a second variation on the first. So over here, our filter is an envelope filter, kind of like an auto wah. And in bank B, the middle setting is a standard, but still really nice sounding 8-stage phaser. A phase 45 is a 2-stage, phase 90 is a 4-stage, phase 100 is a 10-stage. This is 8-stage, so it's gonna be pretty thick. And then the lowest setting is a flanger, you know, for flanging. A lot of times when we romanticize about vintage effects, we think about the first version of things that we still use today. There's a lot of vintage gear that had its moment and that was it for whatever reason. And I love that this pedal is all about the stuff that you'd only find in the back of a magazine and you have to mail away for it, or on a dusty shelf in a music shop. And yeah, it is digital, but if there's anyone you should trust with your guitar tone in a DSP, it's Robert Keeley. Dude has shown repeatedly that he knows what he's doing there. And I'll say that finding settings that work or do what you have in mind with this pedal takes some experimenting. And I hate to say, but the manual is not the best. But that means that when you do land on something that you like, it feels like you're making your own discovery. Like, this is my setting for this guitar on this area of the neck on this song. And that's a good feeling. This pedal feels very Electro-Harmonix-esque. And you know what? I would love to see this expanded into a big pedal with an angled top and different size knobs and fake wood grain on the sides, and it should smell like hot all the time and have the labels half scratched off, and it should zap your hand every once in a while. You know, for the full vintage experience. I love the idea of linking a note's attack and decay to some other effect or property, like what I can do with this jumper area on my Micro Brute. They should totally make something like that in a pedal. I bet it would sell a whole, like 20 units, maybe even more. I might just wind up modding this to make this internal dip switch a little more accessible because there's just a whole lot of great sounds in both banks. This is a total secret weapon pedal. So let's get the band back together, and how about we let the bass player have some fun on this one? This pedal makes you work for it, but patience is rewarded with some really unique sounds that are hard to come by. I'm looking at you, Tube Zipper. Whatever, let's keep it nice and mellow, and I'll catch you on the next one.